Inspection summary review. This entire fire escape is all welded everywhere. So somebody came in here years ago and took out all the clips and just put in angles and welded. But a majority of the fire escape, as the photograph will show, there's a lot of the welds have been compromised. A lot of 50-year-old hardware everywhere on the fire escape, and probably 75% plus of the fire escape has had all the corners reinforced or with a weld. Probably 10 years ago the welds looked like they were done. Things like this. I see all the treads have been rebolted, and a majority of the railings have been rebolted. The gratings were not rebolted, but that's pretty much it on this fire escape. Scrape and paint the whole engineer's inspector summary video here. We're going down, we're finding the fire escape has been changed in bolts probably 20 years ago. There is rust in certain connections, primarily further down some of the clips. Probably finding a 25% failure rate on some of the joint connections. You know, rust there, rust in these that will constantly eat the material. Finding a lot of cracked masonry. This is all masonry work here. It's eventually going to blow out that wall with any type of movement in this building. So that's about 25% failure rate we found on that. More concerning is these connections. These are good. This is what a good connection looks like with rivets. These are 75 to 100-year-old rivets and bolts. But as we go down, we're going to start seeing some issues, and that the connections are starting to fill. So let's go over here just quickly. See the rust getting inside there? See the rust getting inside there? If that's not stopped, it's basically going to blow out these gussets. And these gussets, like the many gussets down below. See that rust in that connection right there? So all those are shot. There's certain points further down that we have a lot of rust in some of these joints. Let's go down a couple of floors. That's where I'm finding a lot of the major issues. Again, 25% structural. All the bolts on the treads have been redone. The rivets, every corner is shot though. You know, I don't know what's happening, but basically these are huge structural cracks. That's going to involve a mason. This is only going to keep growing. Water is getting in there. There could be freeze and thaw, ice jacking and rust jacking happening in there, and it's eventually going to blow out this whole wall. That must be addressed now. Water's getting inside. A lot of cement. So I found that the cement is about 25%. But look at that corner right there. That's all shot and exploded on the other side. Look at all the rust coming down in there. Let me get you a nice shot. It's probably going to be one floor down that we found some serious issues. But again, this fire escape does need a paint job. 25% failure rate on the structural. That's what I'm finding. And again, look at that whole crack. So it seems to be a consistent issue all the way down. See all the rust build up? It's all rust. All rust in here, all rust in here. And that's going to keep growing and eating up these corners. And it's not this one, but the one below is very bad shape. Here's a corner that's gone. See that? It's all built up. Those have all popped. And if I go down a little bit more, again, this is very quick, but there's rust, cement issues. That corner is another one. Now, those corners seem to be the corners that keep getting shot. There's another shot of how much rust is built up in there. Okay. Some of the feet. These corners are typical on all the floors. These corners are shot also. Get into another one here. And if you go up there, you can see that corner shot. Got a lot of rust. Look at that corner again. Huge crack coming down. A lot of rust buildup on some of these shoes. This corner is a bad corner. Let's see if it'll lighten up. If I get in it enough. Yep. Look at all that rust in that corner. And so What that means is all those rivets are gone. So again, some of these things, once repaired and sealed, are not going to give trouble again. Big structural crack, another continuous structural crack. I think this whole corner is going to need a mason in the spring to address the situation. Just look how bad that corner is. It's all rotted out right there. Okay, so again, it's still at the 25th percentile, and then we got, you know, these feet that are rotted out, and you know, I was even able to on this one. So some of these, the nut is there and it looks good. The nut is there, but then through freeze and thaw, there's nothing holding anything. These are all gone. So when you start looking below, a lot of times it's the gussets that have water penetrating inside here, inside there. But again, I still find that the entire fire escape has only got a 25th percentile of structural. So, you know, this stuff is not addressed. You'll have to replace the fire escape because a lot of it is just rotting out. There's another major corner. This is right there. Look at that's all. That whole thing is rotted out in that corner. See, all rotted. So, and then this is a whole new staircase going down to the ground. But you know, 75% of this fire escape has been rebolted to a certain degree. That corner wall, all the way up from the top, is going to blow out in the next 5 to 10 years if the water and/or the ice jacking and the rust jacking is not stopped. It's going to pop that corner. The crack is already there, running the entire length of the building. And so about 25%. This is a brand new staircase going down. Definitely got to seal these things up. You got to seal this up because water's getting in there and eating your bolts. See? All that rusty tears is an indicator that the bolt now is compromised and that these bolts now need to be replaced. And you have to seal it. Otherwise, what happens is there's a bolt failure, somebody trips and falls, and it's some liability associated to the association. Okay, any questions? Inspector Meneses, 800-649-3333. Fire escape engineers. The major problem with this fire escape is, see these brackets that tie in here? These are cantilevered back to the building over here. From here on up, every single one of these is gone and rotted out on the entire structure. So it does need emergency repairs. Aside from standard structural repairs that we need, every one of them is compromised, all rotted. It keeps only getting worse as I keep going up. I had to stop the inspection because every single one of these just keep getting worse and worse. Look at this one. Nothing left. It's the rod. It's holding up the C channel that runs from here all the way to the other side. I'll go up one more and I'll stop. It's pretty dangerous. That's just finding out that one right there, rotted. See that one over there? Rotted. So there's nothing holding up the C channel. It's holding up these stairs. So if you were to load this on one person, you load this for 5 or 10 people. But again, standard welding clips. Same guy who repaired that fire escape over there came here and did the same thing. A lot of welds, a lot of 75 to 100-year-old bolts on this fire escape. At least 50% of this fire escape has got structural issues. All the treads been rebolted. So a lot of rebolting on the easy stuff. I'm just trying to get off the fire escape now. A lot of rebolting, but a lot of those standard rust stayed behind. A lot of these connections were Mickey Mouse from the backside, cut and paste, welds, things like that. See all the rot? All the bolts are still here. All the original bolts are still here. Some attempt at some repairs. Look at that one down there. Look at that. Nothing's really connected. Fire escape is, I'd say it's got a life safety issue on this fire escape simply because of these tiebacks. These tiebacks that go back up there, not only are those 75-plus-year-old bolts holding it up there, but all the tiebacks that go up, when they come down, they're all rotted out. You see how this one is? This one's encapsulated. I think I got a shot of this one. Let's take a look at this one over here. But I believe that one's a very similar situation. Let's see. Yep, look at that. Gone. So, see this corner? An unsupported corner. So that's all rotted out, because what used to be encapsulated and covered is gone. So there's a covering, right? And we have to check all these to make sure. But then at the same time, the only thing holding up this corner right now is this bolt, and it's all gone, eaten through, exposed to the weather. It rotted through. So that's just typical of this fire escape, and that's the only thing tying it back to the building. So we gotta get off this fire escape. A lot of patch jobs, a lot of original hardware still left, except for the treads. Treads got rebolted 20 years ago, let's say. But the rest of this fire escape got patched with a lot of welds, a lot of patching. Tons of patching all over. And again, this one, see an unsupported corner right there? No bracket. Look at that corner. All the bolts are gone. Tack welds here and there. That corner's got the nut, which is down beyond the line. Very unsafe structure. This thing has shifted and buckled, and the nuts that hold this thing up is very unsafe. I'm going to get off the fire escape and get down to the ground here. So the bracket, as you can see, grabs the corner here and brackets back up to the building, and it repeats itself all the way up. That corner, that corner, that corner, on both sides. Shot on the entire structure. Any questions? Inspector Manessas, 800-649-3333.
flames and the frightened faces, all in a firefighter's line of duty. But Chief William Hitchcock remembers the night it wasn't the fire that almost stopped him.
Oh, I was scared to death.
But the fire escape that broke underneath him.
Where the railing just came away from the building.
And our investigation found across Massachusetts more unsafe fire escapes. Rusty, deteriorating, crumbling, broken. And what state officials didn't know, the system they set up to keep fire escapes safe is also falling apart.
The potential ramifications are disastrous.
So let's look at this one. This expert ironworker is licensed to build, maintain, and inspect fire escapes. So then over here? For months, we examined dozens of them with alarming results.
Looking at this today, would this pass inspection?
No.
In dormitories, at theaters, at homes, and apartment buildings.
Rust is actually eating away the metal of the fire escape.
Correct.
And the bottom line?
It'll get weak and then eventually it'll fall.
This one has rotted connections. This one missing bolts, twisted metal.
Would the stairs come down?
No, never come down.
This one a broken tread.
So how dangerous is it for the people inside this building?
This fire escape is definitely going to put somebody either in the hospital or it's going to put somebody in a cemetery.
Fire escapes are so critical. The state building code requires they be certified for structural adequacy and safety every 5 years. But our investigation found that safeguard is simply being ignored. Here's proof. We chose fire escapes at random in Boston, Somerville, Cambridge, Worcester, and here in Quincy. We checked building department files,
But there's no fire escape certification.
Not in this file.
to see if building owners had submitted their mandatory inspection reports.
There's no certification in this one either.
Right.
Bottom line, not one we checked in Quincy had been certified as safe. And the director of inspectional services admitted because of staffing shortages, the city has no idea how many other fire escape owners are breaking the rules.
And as a result, do you know how many fire escapes in your city are safe or not?
Well, I don't know.
In Worcester, not one we checked was certified. In Somerville,
No.
4 more fire escapes,
Did it fall through the cracks? Yeah.
not one up-to-date certification. And again, no system for keeping track.
How can they get away with that?
I guess that the shortest answer of all is because we don't have the resources to sit here and follow up on these things.
If structural deficiencies are reported, local building inspectors can actually evacuate residents until repairs are made.
Would you talk to us on camera about this? No?
But when we surveyed 24 more communities, most admitted they had no idea how many fire escapes were certified. In Taunton, inspectors told us they haven't seen a certification in 25 years. Northampton officials said it's a cold day in hell when that happens. In Cambridge, too, not one of our test buildings was certified, and the official in charge would not come out to discuss it. In Boston, where there are more than 8,000 fire escapes, again, according to inspectional services, not one we checked was certified. Officials know they are required to enforce the building code, but they admit they don't always know if owners are breaking the law.
The building code is being ignored.
Right, but it's difficult to write a violation when you don't have knowledge of something like that.
But state officials say for a critical issue like this, communities should know. And they warn the Massachusetts building code is not optional.
Does it worry you that these fire escapes are not being certified?
This is an important issue and should not be ignored.
That's because after the smoke and flames begin, it'll be too late to learn you've got no way out.
I can't stress it enough, Hank, that these things have to be maintained and someone's got to be watching.
As a result of our investigation, state officials will now issue an alert to local inspectors. Meanwhile, if there's a fire escape on your home or office, you can contact your local building department to make sure it's properly certified. In the newsroom, I'm Hank Philippi Ryan.
Welcome to Firescape Services. We provide inspections and certifications, repairs, and load tests to remove violations in your area and nationwide. So whether you're an inspector or whether you're somebody, you have your own home, you have your own building, the first thing is the law is very clear. It must be structurally sound and must be kept painted. So is the fire escape painted or is it not painted? And does it have more paint than rust or more rust than paint? So I can just look at this fire escape and say that I have evidence right now that there's more rust than paint on this fire escape. So immediately, if you were to call an inspector out here, the law doesn't allow him to pass this fire escape simply because it has more rust than paint. And structural means that if the fire escape is 50 to 75 years old, when any inspector is looking at it, he's got to see some evidence of maintenance. And maintenance means that I have to see a change in bolts, I have to see a change in rivets, I have to see some new hardware. Because when I go up to a fire escape, I see nothing but original hardware. That hardware is 50 to 75 years old. It's been out in the weather 50 to 75 years, and it's just impossible for not one of those rivets, one of those bolts to be changed in 50 to 75 years. And whenever that occurs, what I have is a fire escape that somebody's been constantly painting, but they've never done anything structurally to it. So now that makes the entire fire escape pretty much suspect. So now I have to be careful as to what I'm looking at to make sure that the structural now, on especially the major structural connections, are in good order. Thank you for watching our video. Please call us today at 800-649-3333 to discuss your fire escape issue with a live inspector or schedule an inspection in your area today.